Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking to you about the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. That includes 2 nights of NWA Power on Comet. We'll talk about that. And AEW Collision. Hopefully you all are having a fun, safe Cinco de Mayo. And, yeah, sorry I didn't do this yesterday. I ended up a little busier than I thought I would be. So I figured I'd do this today, considering, well, there's no NWA Power tonight. So, yeah, I'll go over that in a few minutes. But first, let's get to NWA Power's debut on Comet. Night numero uno, which was Friday at 10 p.m. Which is a very interesting spot because SmackDown is still on. So we start off the night with a little introductory video, which was honestly very cool, showing highlights of past and present superstars, including Tyrus. Then we got a little spiel from Jim Crockett's kid, I believe it was, talking about the Crockett Cup, which that was very nice. Speaking of the Crockett Cup, we start off with a 4-way dance to see who goes on to face the 16B side of the bracket. I don't know, it's weird, it's complicated. I don't fully understand it, but from what I gather, one of these 4 teams are going to win. They're going to face another team in a bit, and then they're officially in the tournament. So it's like a play-in tournament, I guess. I don't know. Our members of this matchup are Jack and Eddie. Pretty fresh new tag team to the scene. They've had a couple matches on Power. The Titans of Calamity, which is a great name. It's Talos, who was the tag team partner of Daisy Kill. He's teaming with Ren. It's Ren something. I forget his last name. But they're the All Japan Tag Team Champions. I don't know if they call it something else. I do apologize. I am not up on my All Japan. But I'll definitely check it out. Devastation Reborn, who the last time I saw them, it was teaming with Dr. Vic against God, what are their names? I'm blanking on their name. I apologize. So, yeah, definitely familiar with them. And then the Death Row Militia, which I have no idea where they came from. I guess they're new to the scene for Power. But, yeah, this was a quick, breezy match, especially when Talos tagged in. It's a choke slam on Porno Jack. And you got the winners moving on in the tournament, the Titans of Calamity. Then we get an ad. Then we get that Crockett Cup hype video with Jim Crockett's kid. Very good. Then we got the other side of this equation, like I said, Sins and Grins. So now they're going to face the Titans of Calamity. They get a little ringside interview in which I was kind of hoping, at the very least, we get that from the Death Row Militia. But it's whatever. They pretty much say, you know, we got some Titans in the ring. We're ready to put them in a box and send them back to Japan where they belong. They then get in the ring. They start trading blows. Bell finally rings. And this is more of a traditional match, but after a couple big splashes, a big boot, goes for a chokeslam that gets blocked and countered into a cutter, which that was pretty cool. Then Bam Bam and Ren tag in. Ren goes for the choke slam. That gets blocked into a big splash. Then a drop kick. Then Talos comes in. He eats a double choke slam for the win for the Titans of Calamity. So yeah, a couple early squash matches, but they're not really a part of the tournament until now. So this is where we get an in-ring interview with Talos pretty much taking the lead, saying, I'll tell you, 2025 we're winners. We got the All Japan Tag Team Champions, and now we're facing the Immortals, the NWA Tag Team Champions. Immortals, we're taking that trophy home with us to Japan. So then we cut to quick little commercial. Then we're back with a Tiffany Nieves promo, hyping up her upcoming match with Giselle Shaw. She says, "You're looking at a very hungry champion, looking at the best of everything, and you'll bet you'll see Tiffany take out the trash." So then we cut to the match. It's the NWA Women's TV title match. And this is actually potentially Tiffany Nieves' Lucky 7. And what that means is she successfully defended the TV title enough times where she could potentially cash it in for a world title match. Which, we'll get there. This match was awesome. This was a great women's match. Really, really good back and forth. But then it gets interrupted by a promo from Brandon McCord and Alex Misery. Which, I'm going to say this now. NWA, before commercial breaks, do not do these. Okay? It messes with the flow of the show. It's awkward and odd. Please put these promos and interviews maybe after the break or after the match is done. Because it'll help with the flow of the show. Anyway. So, McCord says, who's a manager, saying, "We are anti-establishment. Fenrir is a company man that Alex Misery will overcome." So Alex Misery comes in, says, "This is era of misery. My thirst for gold will be satisfied." And that's kind of the end of the promo. So that's very nice and easy. Then we go to the ad, come back for an NWA history highlights video, which I always enjoy. Then we cut to a video with the promo with the slime balls, saying, "We're going to defend these tag team titles all over the place. We're going to win the Crockett Cup. While you guys are vets, we've been doing this a lot shorter. But we're going to win anyway because we're veterans." Which, I guess their next match is against the Good Brothers, who have been a team for years. Anyway, we go back to the match. Nieves with a big old sidewalk slam for a 2 count. Nieves then with a bow and arrow on Shaw. Shaw powers out. Hits an arm drag. Goes for a denouement. I believe her finisher name is. I do think I botched it. Whiffs on it. Nieves with a roll up for a 1 count. Shaw then with a spine buster. Couple of clotheslines. Big old power slam for a 2 count. Goes for a Death Valley driver. That gets blocked. Nieves with a super kick and a cutter combination for a 2. She goes for a Death Valley driver, but that gets blocked. Shaw with a shock and awe knee flatliner, I guess, only for a 2 count. Lines it up, hits the denouement, But before she can get the pinfall, Miss Star's on the apron, distracting the referee. That gives Nieves enough time for a DDT and then a 2 count, with the ref catching Nieves with her feet in the ropes. At that point, ref turns to Miss Star, ejects her from the match. Nieves goes for another DDT, that gets blocked. She goes for a suplex, that gets countered into a Rana. Shaw with a spear, then they get up, they face off, they dual strikes for a bit. Then Giselle Shaw with the denouement to pick up the win and win the title. I'm very well done, ladies. That was great. That was awesome. I'm going to say this. Go check it out. Maybe fast forward between the interviews. But that was an awesome bout. So post-match, we get a Giselle Shaw interview saying, "I'm so happy to be making history tonight. Tiffany was the longest reigning TV champ of all time. But it takes focus, and that's what I did. It's time for the quintessential era in NWA. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I did not see that title change coming. And it's going to lead into something for night 2. Stay tuned for that. But first we go to a Country Gentleman promo. And I believe they're in the ring? Yeah, they're in the ring. Saying, "We're coming for the cup. And you're going to be our next victim. And we're going to do it by the book." Then we get a new sit-down talk show, which is honestly fine, with Carson Drake, and he's interviewing the wrestling machines. That's his own boys, Mike Mondo and Slade. With Mondo kind of with Slade taking the lead, saying, "We had the Southern Sixes number last year, but now you got the wrestling machines. Look at the year we've had. We are built different. You don't stand a chance." Then Mondo chimes in and says, "Kerry, Alex, the 2026 Cup means everything to us. We're going to kick your ass so bad that you'll be shitting blood for weeks." Great finishing line. It did get bleeped, which I was very surprised by. But definitely an interesting motivator. And we're going to see that played in night 2, which we'll get to. So now we got our last Crockett Cup first round match, as we got Talos and Ren of the Titans of Calamity taking on Odinson and Kratos of the Immortals. So we got this was a hoss fight and a half. These four guys just threw bombs at one another, back and forth. But then again, as I believe it was Kratos that had Ren in a crossface, we go to an ad, and then we go to a Natalia Markova promo, congratulating Giselle Shaw on her women's TV title win, and only her 3rd time in a company, which is very interesting. Calls her on the next level. You got a lot of potential and a lot to learn. So, nice hype up of a potential title for title match eventually. I guess we'll see. So then, come back from the break, and it's just completely broken down between these two teams. Mortals go for a heart attack on Talos, but that hits, only gets a 2 count. Ren gets in, goes to hit a chokeslam, but that gets blocked. Kratos with a suplex, Odinson with a big suplex, tags Kratos and Talos in. They go completely ham. Kratos with an enziguri into a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. Kratos then tags in Odinson. They go for their immortality finisher, but that gets countered. Kratos goes for a crossbody. That gets caught. Ren goes for a choke slam. That gets blocked. Then Kratos does the spot again. Instead, the choke slam hits. So your winners are the Titans of Calamity, which I did not see that coming. The 16 seed just beat the 1 seed. That's a huge upset right there. And that's their 3rd match of the night in a row for these 2 guys. Honestly, it's what I pictured the Brothers of Destruction versus Chronic to be. Just a big old hoss fight. And these guys are pretty underrated. I'm going to say that. Like, everyone did their part well. Nobody felt out of place. And a big old upset to finish. Love it. Excited for what comes next in the Crockett Cup. Then we kind of get a little card rundown / hype video for Saturday. Which, I'm going to say this. Saturdays on Chronic at 4 is going to be NWA's regular time slot. So they're not doing double headers anymore. So, yeah. Then we go to our Saturday show, our part deuce. We start off with a very fun matchup. And it's a junior heavyweight number 1 contenders match between Damien Fenrir and Alex Misery. And yeah, I'm going to tell you, this definitely felt like an old school TNA X Division style match. A lot of great energy, hot right off the bat. But then we see McCord trip Fenrir. And Misery goes in for a big bite. Then we go to a break. But before that, we go to a TVMA promo. Where we see Miss Star and Greta trying to settle Tiffany Nieves down. Saying, we're going to get us back to the top, don't you worry. Tiffany Nieves looks down at her feet for a second. Looks back up. Puts on her, like, tiara, which I forgot she had. Then she goes off saying, it means it's done. It means it's done. So does that mean she's done with power? Is this her being written off TV because her contract expired? I'm not sure. Because I would have thought she would have been NWA Women's Champion by now. But hopefully she will be back and we will see her as champion again sometime in the near future. So then, come back from break. We see Tom Latimer and El Dragon Nehan. They're in, like, some library or something. It is a very interesting visual. Latimer cuts a promo saying, this team, we got some big guys next week. Well, if I'm having trouble with you big guys, I'm going to tag in my big guy. So then, Dragon comes up, says, next week is a battle of the Kaijus, and I don't plan on losing. Ooh, I tell you, I wasn't so sure about this team when they first got together. I am all in. So, get back to the match, and it's pretty much more of the same, although Misery keeps targeting Fenrir's legs, which is a very good idea. He keeps, limping on it. It looks like he's hurt himself. After a whiff on a clothesline, McCord grabs Fenrir's leg again. Fenrir then hits a big old dive on McCord. gets back in. Misery takes advantage with a drop kick and then a frog splash to pick up a win and become your new number one contender to the junior heavyweight title. Yeah, that was definitely a fun match. Again, flow of the show was definitely put off a little bit by the promos. Hopefully NWA and Comet figure that out, because, yeah, like I said, that messes with the flow of the show a whole lot. So then we go back to another Carson Drake Experience segment, this time with the Slime Balls. Good to see them there. Immediately take over saying, "We are the United States Tag Team Champions. And we had you now because of your large fan base. Next week we got the Good Brothers. And we are going to whoop them. They've been here, 2 or 3 matches? We're going to beat them in the Crockett Cup 3 times. And you know what they say? Third time's the charm. And yeah, that kind of ends the segment. I'm going to say this. The 2 segments I've seen, first one was solid. Really gets to the point of the matter. This one felt a little bit more chaotic. And maybe that was the plan because, it's the Slime Balls. But I feel like if we're going to do a new interview segment / talk show segment, I think it needs to be a little bit more focused. But that's just me. Anyway, then we go to the ring for a Southern Six interview, and it's the whole crew. It's Taylor, Alex Taylor, Kerry Morton, and Thrillbilly Silas Mason, World Heavyweight Champion. So Kerry kind of takes the lead on this and says, "Wouldn't we be anywhere else on my birthday?" So that gets a little happy birthday chant. And then Taylor takes the mic and says, "But we're in the hottest faction in the NWA. We're here to make history over and over again." And then Thrillbilly gets on the mic and says, "Post this match, we rented out the clubhouse," which apparently is a bar. Oh yeah! I forgot about that venue. I forgot the Southern Six have a bar. And he invites the whole crowd, which gets a nice little reaction. So Thrillbilly goes on commentary. Then we get our first second round matchup of the Crockett Cup. As we get the Southern Six, that's Kerry Morton and Alex Taylor, taking on the Wrestling Machines, that's Slade and Mike Mondo. And while Slade and Mondo tried to overpower these two, Taylor and Kerry definitely used their speed a bit more. Really nice back and forth until Taylor had set the green whistle set up. That got blocked. He gets pushed into Kerry. Kerry tags him in. He goes for the big knee strike. Opponent moves. That hits Alex off the apron. Slade then locks in the Slade Lock. Grapevines it to pick up the win for the Wrestling Machines. Then while the Wrestling Machines are celebrating, we see a little bit of Kerry and Alex getting into a little argument. Then we see a little replay of the finish. Then we see Kerry walking by Thrillbilly on commentary. They get into it a little bit. So it looks like maybe we're seeing the dissolution of the Southern Six, which, that's been a long time coming. So then we go back to another Natalia Markova promo. And apparently coming up there's going to be a gauntlet match, which kind of looking forward to that. That should be fun. Where the winner gets a women's title shot. So apparently this is for a future shot, I guess. Because for the Crockett Cup, Moldova already has an opponent. So I am not sure what this is about. So then we go back into the ring for a Country Gentleman interview with Joe Kazana calling the seeding this year really bad, worse than last year. Corgan screwed us. This year, we're not only winning the Crockett Cup, I guarantee we will win and bring that trophy home to Tennessee. So then we get our next matchup, next second round match for the Crockett Cup, as it's the Country Gentlemen, AJ and Casey Kazana, taking on Primo and Epico, the Colognes. And honestly, here, I was kind of hoping we'd see Carlito be the one to, neutralize Joe Kazana, but maybe we'll see that at a different point. This match was a whole lot of fun. This was a great little matchup. But then, after a big dive, go to another commercial break. Before that, we see a Brian Idol promo saying, "Thrillbilly, your time is almost up. In 3 weeks, I'm coming for that title, and I'm going to take it from you. And you're going to ask who's going to save you? Nobody, because Luke's that kill, and so do I." Which, I'm going to say this, that's a great finishing line. So, hopefully, we'll, I'm not sure where we're going with this, but I guess we'll see. After getting back from commercial, big old drop kick from KC. Then at that point, we see Joe Kazana with his book, and that thing is thick. Hitting Epico with the ref distracted, and then Country Gentlemen just start taking advantage, getting all the cheap shots in they could. Eventually, Epico does tag in, runs shop, goes for a figure hit, locks in the figure 4 leg lock. AJ breaks it up. Casey with the jawbreaker. And then Country Gentleman hit the Gentleman's Touch, which is a little creepy, but I'll figure it out. So your winner, the Country Gentleman, moving on past the second round for the first time in their career in the Crockett Cup. Congratulations, gentlemen. I kind of hope they win, honestly. I feel like that would be a good big win for them and move them up maybe into the main division. I feel like that would be fun. And then we find out our main event, as we get Pretty Boy Smooth taking on Trevor Murdoch. And this was a bit of a hoss fight and a half. This was so good. Really good back and forth. Murdoch hits his top rope bulldog, only gets a 2 count, which they make a big deal about that on commentary, saying, no one's kicked out of that before. Then Murdoch backs the ref in the corner, gives Pretty Boy Smooth enough time to get up, hits his rolling elbow, and then the penthouse bomb to pick up the win. Match itself was a lot of fun. I don't know if I would put it in the main event, but I understand why. Because post-match, we got an interview not with Pretty Boy Smooth, but with Trevor Murdoch. And he's saying, what's going through my mind? I'm not even sure if I can do this anymore. As soon as he said that, my jaw hit the floor. He continues, I'm not giving the fans what they deserve. I wasn't going to be the guy to hold everything up. I don't want to embarrass myself or my family. That's why right here, right now, I'm announcing my retirement from wrestling. I want to thank all the fans. And because of you, I was able to put my kids through college. Thank you, William Patrick Corgan. You believed in me when wrestling didn't want me. So for that, I say thank you. I applaud Mr. Trevor Murdoch. I've been following his career for a while, from his tag team with Lance Cade in WWE, and yes, that was my favorite tag team for a while. It's a shame Vince didn't like tag team wrestling, otherwise they'd be doing a lot more. To his weird run in Impact/TNA, where he had I forget his name. It wasn't Trevor Murdoch, I'll tell you that much. To his pretty interesting run in the NWA with his tag team with Knox, his world title run after beating Nick Aldis. He's been quite the character, and see him go, it's a little sad. Because, honestly, I'm going to say this. Trevor Murdoch is completely underrated. Should he have been world champion in WWE? Probably not. But I'm glad he got an NWA title run. And he put some more really good years into his career. So for that, I am going to applaud him. Enjoy retirement. You deserve it. So on that sad note, NWA was pretty much fine. Definitely a lot of good matches, but they were broken up really weird by these promos and interviews and stuff. I feel like if the focus was on the match first, and then we get to these small interviews, I feel like the show would flow more than a bit better. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. And that leaves us with AEW Collision. And oh boy, we start off white hot with a 10-man tag. And no, I'm not kidding you. 10 men are in this match. So we got the Death Riders, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and the Bastard Pac. 2 remaining members of the Dogs. So that's the Dogs. That's David Finlay and Claude Connors, taking on the team of Top Flight. So that's Darius and Dante Martin, who I miss seeing on my TV. And they're teaming up with Zachary Wentz, Desmond Xavier, and Myron Reed of the Rascals. And I am not going through absolutely everything in this matchup, because that would take forever. But I am going to tell you this. If you have a good couple minutes to watch this, because it is a long match, go give it a watch, because it was absolutely fun. Match comes after a clothesline by, after, all kinds of moves in the corner. Clothesline by Pac. Locks, I want to say it was Darius in the Blue Utilizer for the win for the Dogs and the Death Riders. So, yeah, fun opener, really chaotic. I'm going to say if you got a couple minutes to watch, go give it a watch. It was awesome. Then we get this fun little vignette. So it's Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus driving the old Scapegoat bus, which is now painted up like Jurassic Park van, which that looks really cool. So then we get Jack Perry. He initially leans out the window, looks through a little spyglass. Then he gets on the intercom of the bus, which is a megaphone. Says, "This bus doesn't stop rolling for anybody." Then there's a brief moment where we see Luchasaurus and Jack Perry on the side of the road peeing, which kind of laugh out of me. They get back on the bus. Then Jack Perry finishes, "If you don't like this national tour, well then, you." Then the cameraman pipes up, in which I think that's the first time I've heard that in a while. What was his name? Who was the Elite's old stooge? I forget his name. Used to do that all the time. So the cameraman says, I don't know if you're allowed to say that on TV. Perry then grabs him by the shirt, dumps him off the bus drives off. Give me more of this. I love these vignettes AEW are doing. It adds so much to the show. Please, more of this. Not too much more. Don't want to be like WWE. But more stuff like this adds to the character and adds to the story of the show. I love stuff like this. And actually, speaking of the national title, it's on the line in this next match as Jungle Jack Perry takes on Mascara Dorada of CMLL, who also has a dual contract with AEW. This was really awesome. Both guys had some great chemistry. It did start off a little bit slow, but eventually it did pick up, especially after Mascara Dorada, on top of the barricade, not on the apron, not in the ring, on the barricade, hits a Canadian Destroyer on Perry. That was insanity. Gets him back in the ring. Whiffs on the moonsault. Perry goes for a suplex. Mascara Dorada counters with a Rana. Then Perry out of nowhere hitting a Code Red, which, that was awesome. They go back and forth like this for a little bit. Mascara Dorada then attempts another destroyer on the apron. Perry counters it. They trade super kicks. Perry then with a big old Hurricane Rana off the apron. Gets him back in. Hits a knee. Hits a power bomb for a 2 count. Mascara Dorada goes for a shooting... No, Perry goes for a shooting star. Mascara Dorada catches him into a roll-up for a 2 count. Then Perry, with Mascara Dorada on the top, hits a Rana off the top into a roll-up for the win. And honestly, that was another really, really good matchup. The crowd got into it almost immediately. I'm not going to say this is a match of the year candidate, but it's damn close. This was a great match. If you got a couple minutes to watch this as well. Then we got a situation with Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. They're getting interviewed after their loss to the Divine Dominion, after challenging for the tag titles. With Shida turning to the interviewer and saying, "Oh, we almost had them. It wasn't your fault." Statlander then grabs Shida by the throat, pushes her into the wall, and says, "You're damn right it wasn't my fault. You know why? You didn't listen to me. You didn't take directions, and you kept tagging yourself in. You cost me history." And as Statlander is removing her hand from Shida's mouth, Shida says, "Alright, we've been friends for 7 years. I'll make it up to you." And she does so in maybe the funniest way possible. We'll get there a little later. But first we get some trios action. That's right, we got the conglomeration, our current reigning trios champions. That's Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Orange Cassidy, taking on a team I haven't seen on AEW TV in a while. It's the MXM Collection, along with Johnny TV. So MXM Collection, if you remember, that was Mansoor and Mason Madden. I forget what they call him in AEW. I do apologize. And then Johnny TV is John Morrison. Except he's got his head shaved, which that looks so weird. John Morrison without hair. That is so weird. So, match starts off actually really funny with Kyle O'Reilly and Mansoor starting him off. He kicks Mansoor. Mansoor just again goes, like he's Peter Griffin. Hobbles to the corner, tags in Mason Madden, who gets in. He strikes a fighting pose for a second. Kyle kicks him. He does the same thing. Tags in Johnny TV, and they go to have a really nice little exchange. Then Roderick Strong comes in. He gets his stuff in. Then Cassidy tags in, and Cassidy just... he has a little fun. He dives... No, it was Roderick and Kyle taking out the MXM Collective. Then it looks like they were going for... No, takes out Johnny TV. MXM Collective tease a dive, but instead they do their kind of modeling pose in which Cassidy gets in, just does his half-assed thumbs up, which is hilarious. They go back and forth for a while. MXM Collective goes for a doomsday device, but that gets blocked. Cassidy goes for an orange punch on Mason Madden, but he catches it. Chops him a couple times. Roderick Strong with an Olympic slam. Madden goes for a choke slam, but that gets blocked. Gets knocked over the top rope. Kyle O'Reilly with a big kick. Roderick Strong with a big knee. And then Cassidy with his falling elbow drop. Not Macho Man style, but specifically his to pick up the win for the conglomeration. And as they're celebrating, Tommaso Ciampa's music hits. He comes out on the ramp, checks his watch, points at it. Time is ticking. Oh, that Double Jeopardy match is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait for that. Then we get a nice little moment. If you don't remember Rebel, she was in really early AEW. She is now suffering with ALS. My heart goes out to you, Rebel. Hopefully you can beat... You can beat this. I hope you see this. And know we're all right behind you. Rooting for you. So next we then get a little rundown of the Moxley-Ospreay situation, which... Yeah, this is going to be interesting real fast. Next up, we get the TBS title on the line as Willow Nightingale takes on a returning Anna Jay. It's definitely been a little while since I've seen Anna Jay. I believe she's still under her original contract, but that's coming up pretty soon, so hopefully she has fun whatever she does and wherever she goes. Anyway, getting into the match, this match was fine overall. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad either. I'll talk about this after the match. One point we did see Anna Jay lock in the Queen Slayer, but Willow pretty much powers out. Then she hits the Babe with the powerbomb to pick up the win. So I'm gonna say this: like Gunther being the new Legend Killer, Willow being the return stopper kind of feels like we're stunting. We're kind of spinning the wheels with Willow a little bit. I'd like to see her face a variety of challengers, not just people who make a return and then go back on the bench. I'd like to see her in a real storyline. Anyway, although I do kind of see where this is potentially going to go. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting little return. Then we go backstage for a Shida, Statlander, Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa interview. So Shida turns to Statlander and says, I told you I was going to make it up to you. Now we got this tag match, another tag match, this time with these two, pointing to Harley and Mina. So Harley, kind of taken aback, says, oh, I thought I wasn't on your level. Am I on your level now? Shida then tells her, you're not even worthy enough to hold my kendo stick. Which, that's something. Then Mina turns to Statlander and asks, how the heck can you trust her like this again? And by the way, she then turns to Shida, where were you when Toni Storm was attacked? Because if you remember the picture that was taken, there was a kendo stick in that room. Maybe it was Shida. So then Statlander walks off. Shida walks right behind her, speaking Japanese. Then Mina turns to Harley, puts a hand on her shoulder, asks, you really think you can have a match like this? Then Harley, a little sad, says, I don't know what to say. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting moving Harley Cameron away from Willow. I loved the Babes of Wrath. They were one of my favorite tag teams. So seeing them separated kind of feels off. And then throwing Harley Cameron into a makeshift team with Shida, I don't know. Tony, I'm going to say this. Let's find some established women's tag teams, get them in here to face Cross and Megan Bayne, who we're going to hear from a little bit later. But first, we got a little tag team match playa. We got the Death Riders, this time being the Young Boys. I do not mean that how I say it. It's Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia taking on the remnants of the Bang Bang Gang. So it's Ace Austin and Juice Robinson. And yeah, this match was absolutely so much fun. Especially the interactions between Garcia and Juice Robinson. Ace Austin then definitely gets a lot of the spotlight. One point, Juice has the Death Riders on the ropes. Mina Shirakawa gets on the apron, distracts Juice long enough for Garcia to attempt a pinfall roll up to only get a 2 count. Garcia then with a big old pile driver. Death Riders with a fastball special for a 2. Yuta lines up for the Busaiku knee, whiffs. Juice Robinson with the Samoan drop. And then Juice is loose to pick up the win for the Bang Bang Gang. And as they're celebrating, the Death Riders, including Jon Moxley, who's on commentary, attack the Bang Bang Gang post-match. But this brings back Austin and Colton. The Guns are back in town, baby! Let's go! They make the save. Looks like they're about to hit a 310 to Yuma on Moxley. Shafir makes the save on that. Yuta then attempts to hit a clothesline on them. Misses. Then a 310 to Yuta on Wheeler Yuta. Then Austin Gunn gets on the microphone, says, hey, the Collision Cowboys are back. This is our show, and if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya. Guns up! I love that the boys are back. Now we're just missing one more. A king, perhaps. Miss you, Switchblade. Honestly, I did not see myself being this excited for the Guns. Like, early on in their career, I wasn't super up on them. Now I'm hype. It's amazing how much, what it takes in time to change your mind on someone. And like I said, great to have them back. Now we're just missing one more. And now for my theory on the potential Anarchy in the Arena match. So we got Death Riders. So it's Mox, Yuta, Garcia, Claudio, and Pac. If you want to include Marina Shafir, I'm sure that'd be cool. And they could take on the Bang Bang Gang. So that would be Ace Austin, Juice Robinson, Austin and Colton Gunn, Jay White if he's healthy. If he's not, I'm sure we can find a replacement. And then someone extra, which could be fun. So next up, we hit to the back for the interview with the Divine Dominion. Saying all the other teams are standing below us. We just beat 2 former women's champions. What women have a prayer against us? The only hope this division has is if the gods themselves strike us down. Until then, stop trying. So them's some fighting words. Like I said, Tony, let's establish an actual tag division for the women. I know you're capable of it. Let's give them some more focus. Next up, bit of a squash match, although opponent did get some stuff in, as we have Sky Blue taking on Nixie AX, who, honestly, I'm going to say this, she looks like a character from a fantasy video game. This was definitely a domination by Sky Blue, who wins via the Descent into Madness, which is like, it's kind of a triangle choke like Undertaker did back in the day. Pick up the win, move on. Interesting little squash match. Hopefully we got a plan for Sky Blue coming up. Then we get a rundown for the 3-hour Dynamite we're about to have this Wednesday. That should be a ton of fun. Then we go to our main event of the evening for the TNT title as Kevin Knight defends against Hook. And I'm going to say this. This was Hook's best match in his career. Not to say he's bad, but he did get a little boring in the middle there for a bit. But honestly, I don't know if Kevin Knight was helping him out a little bit. But this was a nice little back and forth. You had Kevin Knight's high flying ability versus Hook's ground and pound. So the dynamic there really worked. However, your winner after a big old DDT and the UFO splash, it's Kevin Knight. And he has a big old date with Destiny on Wednesday when he challenges AEW World Champion Darby Allin for the AEW World title. Yep. Hook that up to my veins. I'm going to say this. AEW has done a great job rebuilding Collision into something a bit more relevant than it was. Overall, in its past, it was definitely more of a, let's get these guys on a card wrestling, even though we don't have anything really for them. So yeah, this was definitely the pure wrestling show. This is becoming a bit more of a must-watch. I mean, not totally, but, it's definitely getting better. So, gonna give AEW a ton of credit there. If you haven't been keeping up with Collision, why not? Give Collision a watch. I think you'll have fun. Anyway, that'll do it from me for today. I hope you all enjoyed. So coming up, we're going to have a little bit of change in programming. So Fridays, instead of starting with NWA Power, in which Power is now going to be on Saturday at 4, that means starting us off for Friday is going to be AEW Dynamite and TNA Impact Wrestling. Then on the following Monday, it's going to be NWA Power and AEW Collision. Which, it's definitely going to be interesting. Hopefully you stay tuned for that. And then tomorrow, I'm thinking of doing a very interesting video pertaining to the recent roster cuts from WWE and where I would like to see them in the future. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.